So, thank you very much, Zafar Saab, for coming here and
Yeah,
joining
thank you
us
so
today.
much.
I would request you to begin this conversation about uh, talking about your journey, that how uh, from an individual, from a tech guy to industry leader or to an organizational leader. How has this journey been overall? What made you to become to this role overall? So, what have been the challenges? What have been the dilemmas? And how did you become today? How did you become whatever you are today?
Mhm.
Throughout in the past almost 2.5 decades.
Right. So I completed my graduation in 2001, July 2001 to be precise. And right after that, during completing my final project, I was also the second in Lahore who has completed Microsoft Certified Solution Development Certification. And that was at that time that was a great achievement for me. And the whole idea was I was already, I knew that what I was going to do. Though I started my career with hardware, and the first computer I worked on that was 8088, which has the maximum memory of 1 MB.
Right.
And soon when I joined the software engineering, the first computer I had that had 166 megahertz of the total speed with 16 GB of memory into 16 MB, sorry,
The
memory as
interesting part
total.
is that you don't look that old, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
You look
22
comparatively
years. I mean,
young,
as of
right?
today,
Okay.
almost 22 years I've already spent in this industry. So the first job, though that time was too tough in order to find a job, or and especially a good job. I've been lucky, sort of. I did not have to go for an internship, free internship. I, uh, though that stipend was, low at that time, but that was still an achievement that I started with Guard Filters, a small company of 3, 4 people. Uh,
And
that
that was the
was I
year
started
when? In which year?
2000, 2001,
2001.
right after completing my graduation in June. I was able to grab that job in July, early July.
Right.
And after a couple of years, I resigned from there. I waited for a good opportunity to come, and I got an opportunity from Systems Limited to join them as a contractor. And that contract renewed once again, for another 3 months. And finally, they had to make me permanent. And that was again, achievement. I was the first one in last 4 years who got permanent at that time. And during that time, I started my career with Java and Visual Basic. The primary role I got that was in Visual Basic. And at that time, Visual Studio Beta 2 was launched. The first version of .NET, that was Visual Studio 2002, along with .NET 1.0. That Beta 2 was launched. There were no online documentation available at that time. So a pack of 6 CDs that we used to buy from the markets in order to learn further about the technology which is available in the market. And that was the most appropriate way to learn something new, or to go through that documentation of a thing which is available and vast like Java, or if you want to learn something new, that was the primary source of that information available at that time. So I took that opportunity. I switched my career to .NET. I trained, a few people in Systems Limited. They were even was not aware of that what .NET is and what are the potentials around it. So that was the my first, you can say, achievement in terms of technology.
Right. Okay.
And as I mentioned that I was already committed what I wanted to be. I being an individual, I always hated delivery because I wanted to be a technologist who does not manage the project, who is not answerable to clients. but who just focuses and enjoy developing, something different that actually we can say that we have done a value addition uh, to make a solution successful, maintainable, or whatever the other characteristics of the solution could be.
Right. So the three areas I think we were intending to talk about were the ideation, which you talked about, that how did you start your career overall.
Mhm.
So just a following question to whatever you have mentioned. Uh, what made you choose the technology stack? Like you mentioned that at that time when you picked up .NET, so there were a lot of people who were not aware of this.
Yeah,
So what were the motivators overall, which made you to choose or to go into that technology stack?
I would say, the two trends we have seen in the market, not just, limited to development industry, but also in fashion as well. The one way is to, just do what others do, or the way you find your own way,
Right.
or you find a gap and you try to explore that path, which could be difficult as compared to other. It may take more time. Just like, Akash mentioned about the journey of Xamarin, how we started it. The same thinking was there at that time as
Right. So just one more thing to this. I think a lot of people started, but sustainability is very difficult whenever you pick up something. So uh, I would not ask you that how did you do it, but I would ask you that if you have to advise one thing, that how should you sustain whenever you start off something. So
well. Yeah, I think the main problem what I understand is, as usual, not just in Pakistan, but in other part of worlds as well, that we do not go much further on that path. As soon as we feel the first hurdle or first hazard we see, we try to come back and start new journey. That could be, maybe, 1 mile after we could reach to that destination.
right,
So that is actually, I would say, I would suggest to everyone, especially who are trying to build their career, they are in the early age of their career, they should be focusing on which could make a difference in future, not, everything that everyone else is doing already. तो उसके लिए एक जो मैं बड़ी जो एक वो कहता होता हूँ कि आजकल लोग कहते हैं, यानी कोई भी बड़ा अच्छा काम कर रहा होता है, कोई भी डाटा इंजीनियर हो सकता है, पूछो क्या करना है, मैंने बड़े होके फ्रंट एंड डेवलपर बनना है, because everyone is looking for that role, because 70% people are already working for that. So if there is more requirement, there is definitely more requirement of front end availability. But as data grows, as the backend services grow, as logics become further complex, obviously, those areas, and especially with the specialization, how it started even in Pakistan as well. Now people work in a specific role. This is backend API backend engineer, but it doesn't mean that you should limit it to backend. But yes, you should be make yourself specialist into that area, but you should also be familiar how to interact with data, how to integrate front end. So either you can compensate your colleagues in their absence, or at least you should feel that, this is not the only thing but I am familiar. So this is how actually things work. And I believe that, as soon as you start thinking like this, you will see, you will see major difference in your person, not just, in your technical skill, but in your personality as well.
right. So talking about the modern times, what are your experiences, observations overall that you come across about organizations, especially when I say organizations, so I definitely mean technology organizations and individuals. So individual means from a student who is being graduated from a university with any
Mhm.
technical degree and up to the time he gets employed.
If we start with the fresh grad who's looking to start his career, he should know, at the time of completion or before that completion, what he wants to do,
Right.
what or he or she wants to do.
And he wants to do or she wants to do, you mean that
The
they should be
technology,
the technology
they
in the domain overall,
yeah,
right?
the
Okay.
technology they enjoy working with, not the technology market, market, the technology which could be, that could be different than the technology which is already in market
And
demand.
like, what is the one click that how to identify that particular stack or maybe domain that how could one?
I would say explore. I would say explore yourself, revisit. I mean, whatever you have done in the past. I mean, semesters while studying. If you are proficient with C++, who says that C++ jobs are not available? And if you have learned C++ with the full dedication, not just for getting 98% or 92% score, you will definitely, that would become easy for you to learn anything new because you know the foundation, you know the insights that how stuff works, and everything else that you will be dealing with in future. I mean, high level languages or platforms, they will be so simple as compared to C++. That is why we take it as a foundation language.
Right. So, talking about the problems, what are the real dilemmas we see usually every day in tech people? Like, typically they go feature by feature.
Yeah.
So, to my understanding, I think the problem is that whatever we do, we just do it for the runtime. So, we don't
Mhm.
try to understand businesses, we don't try to understand the scope of operations, the scope of development we are going to do. So I would request you to comment on this part as well. That how important it is for a developer to or for a technical guy to understand the functional requirements of the business also, rather just going from feature to feature.
I think, I mean, there could be two part of it. One is that, I mean, there's a responsibility of an organization, and the second would be for individual. So if we start with organization, I feel that, I mean, there is an unusual pressure on the development team or on the, I mean, overall or on the delivery team. What we do is we want to follow the modern processes like Scrum. And what should be the outcome of that? I mean, that process is to facilitate us, not, we are not the ones who should facilitate that process to be
Yeah.
to work accurately, right? So what I see nowadays, and I sometime I openly, I mean, talk about that as well. What usually happens, I mean, as an individual, uh, what I see the purpose of Scrum, that इंस्टेड वी फॉलो इट फॉर द बेटरमेंट. आप ये कहो कि हमने उसे एक तरह उसको पूजना शुरू कर दिया, तो सॉरी, उसमें से बेहतर उसकी फीलिंग नहीं आ सकती थी. तो इस वजह से भी थोड़ा जो है वो, आप कहें कि हमारी थोड़ी सी जो है ना, द वे वी वर्क, दैट इज एक्चुअली, आई मीन, टोटली चेंज्ड. What is important for you? If I go to office, I open my board, what I see that, this is the task I need to complete. I just have 4 hours left to complete this task, right? I will stop thinking and I will start working on that ticket just to somehow fulfill the requirements. But we do not consider that, I mean, will it be maintainable for the future? Because if we develop something today, especially for enterprise, that 20%, I mean, the whole time, I mean, the entire life of that software would be, if it is 10 years, only 20% of that time we are spending on the original development of it, and 80% of time will be spent later on during the maintenance period or the upgradation period of it. Because every organization learns with the new versions. I mean, Compass is one of the examples of that. We started with the basic features, then we started adding geofencing to it and other stuff, and cartology was a completely new experiment on that. So I would say, I mean, that forward thinking, it would be some sort of, I mean, I would say that it should be organizational responsibility to some extent as well, that they need to help their team members to explore their capabilities
Yeah,
as
to
well.
enable that feature within themselves. So
Exactly,
they
exactly.
should look
At
forward
least
that.
they should, before they start complaining to their employees that, I mean, तुमसे बेहतर वो है या उससे बेहतर वो,
True,
तो
true.
वो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था. You should give them time before you ask for them, I mean, to start thinking differently, just like, I mean, others do.
There is one categorical problem that a lot of people and a lot of companies have talked about, which is that a lot of people, when I say people, so I mean technical people, that they don't read any discovery document at the beginning of the project, and that leads to they say that if you just read for 6 days, that may save your 6 months of debugging. So, your thoughts on this?
If you go back, I mean, at least a decade before, the process was project manager was the person who was responsible for the entire conversation, right? Now we have changed the process that everyone should be part of that team, but still we couldn't come out of that role.
Yeah.
We still believe that, I mean, as I am a developer, the other that person is a business analyst. This is his responsibility to get the requirements out, to get those requirements expanded, to be validated, and then the next responsibility of UX guy to accurately develop those requirements.
Exactly.
And my job is just to code, I mean, just like I mean a labor worker does.
Yeah.
While I mean while working on a wall, right? Just I mean putting a certain arrangement of bricks to just to build up a wall.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, engineering, this is not, I mean, something I consider as part of engineering. And I mean another problem, because we sometimes believe that the other person is more intelligent than me, or he has more experience than me.
Yeah.
That is another problem. Or I say that, I mean, even I know that, but if I tell them, I may have to work I mean another day extra on that. So it should be his responsibility, the I mean senior's responsibility to come up with the right requirement. And whenever he comes back to me that this is not right, I will have a chance to say that, I mean, जैसा मुझे दिया था मैंने तो वैसे ही बना
Yeah,
दिया उसको.
exactly, exactly. And I think this is also very important in terms of developing a role for the future, like you just talked about. That ये देखना चाहिए कि उनका they should also look forward that how would they become in next 2 3 years. So I think in terms of becoming something in next 2 3 years, this is also very important that whatever you do, you also learn and understand the business in which you are working, right?
Exactly. So I would say, I mean, I still believe that, I mean, today that time is already, I mean, is there, that we are working for enterprises. We are not working on small solutions like login. You will see a list, then you will open, you will edit a record, it will save, you will extract it through a report, right?
Yeah.
This is not the way, I mean, how enterprises want us. Because automated tools are already available to develop such thing. Power Platform is, is one of the platform provided by Microsoft. Bubble IO is already there. Then why we need developers for that, right? We cannot eliminate engineers because requirements, everyday requirements, the way people are thinking, how they are expanding the automation in the industry, it will keep changing,
Yeah,
right?
because they have the ability to think through.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, because they have a version available with them. They explore it, they learn from it, and they come up with another version. And secondly, I mean, this is human nature as well, that I mean whatever we develop today, we do not like it, I mean, after some time, even it works fine, I mean, we want it to be redeveloped. Either, I mean, we do the facelifting or we completely rearrange design. And again, I mean, it does not just apply to software development. Even if you build your own house or you renovate your own room, right after the next day, I mean, the day it completes, you will start thinking of, ah, this could be done as well.
Yeah.
Or next time, whenever I'll take care of these things as well.
So just one final concluding question, and then we'll open the floor for any further questions. Uh, what will your recommendations be for the future of work and the people who are coming into the industry, or the individuals who are trying to become a group and then further to organizations?
So three key
I would
things.
also talk, I would also like you to talk about a little bit about standardizations also in this.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
how important standardizations are for this.
So first we need to learn. I mean, before I come back to standardization, I think, I mean, the other topic, if we, I mean, explore it first. If I try to draw a triangle between, I mean, three skills everyone should have. Of course, I mean, a company, we all deliver, right? That is why we work for that company. Otherwise, why company need us, right? So delivery is, of course, I mean, a key thing, or at least, I mean, it has 50% of it. But it doesn't matter how quickly you develop or how accurately you develop. Only matters is the one skill, at least one skill you have, which has you better than the others, right? I see, I've met people uh, who are, I mean, no one can code, I mean, better than them. When even if they keep writing for the entire day, when they will finish and they will run that code, it will just end up with a couple of issues. They will fix it and they will deliver it to the testing team.
Yeah, right away.
Right. And I have also, I mean, I work with those people who just, I mean, quickly write. Sometimes we believe that, I mean, this task would take 2 days, and sometimes they finish that task within 4 hours. And the good part is they even tell that, I mean, this task is finished, what I need to do next. So qualities, I mean, a few of them could be God gifted. Like, I mean, if you can work with the, I mean, blazing pace, everyone cannot do. Even I cannot do. I mean, with my age of 44 now, but still, I mean, we all need to explore that. What is my key skills or my
Strength
top two
areas.
skills? I
Yeah.
mean, which are my two skills? And if I try to, I mean, list down a few skills, continuous learning. This is something, I mean, which you, I mean, you can control, right? If I consider that, I mean, speed programming is a God gifted skill, just like, I mean, good voice if someone gets. But still, continuous learning is in your hand. Pace could be different. If you spend 3 days on something and another person spend 4 hours, maybe at some stage that they both could have the same knowledge, right? But still, important is you start something, you keep doing that. And learning does not mean that you watch a video or you go through a blog and you say that I am now familiar with this technology. Start practicing. Even it uh, that continuity could be of 30 minutes on every day. In modern societies, even if you are familiar with, a concept of me time exists, right?
Yeah.
This is my time, this is, I mean, my wife's separate isolated time, this is time for kids.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, being a developers or, I mean, engineers, we should also have our me time available, which we should utilize to spend on us. And as long as we make fun of it, we will definitely will enjoy, not just, I mean, doing the learning, we will also enjoy working on the actual task, and the output would completely be different as compared to what we usually see
All
today.
right.
And the secondly, as requirement increase, uh, you are also responsible for requirement expansion as well. Don't think of that this business analyst is smarter than you, but it also does not mean that you start thinking that he's I mean, not
Inferior.
eligible to
Yeah.
do that, right? If you get something you are familiar based on your experience, you should talk to, I mean, the ways could be different. You can ask in form of a question, you can ask in form of suggestion, but at least you should talk about it, because scrum, the main purpose was, the scrum was to make a team who knows everything, instead of we meet up for a 15 minutes, we tell about our task, and we close our mics, and we start doing something else. This is not the purpose. And the stand up was made to sync others, that why we are working together, right? And the third part of it, domain knowledge, that is the key thing will be of the future, especially. And even the industries, I mean, supply chain itself, it's a big, and this is the industry, I mean, we deal with in most of the, I mean, I would say at least 80% of time. because supply chain is around us, and then we see healthcare, banking, everything else is, I mean, that comes after it. So your top skill, delivery, of course. I mean, everyone uh, does delivery every day, and they are competent enough to do that. And finally, that whatever you do, start learning that domain as well, because that would be the next requirement in the jobs or in the title. Until you have that skill, that you have worked for few industries and you are familiar in depth with those industry, you may not get the role you may idealize at that time.
Right. So we are open for any questions from the audience. If somebody wants to ask any question. There is a saying in Arabic called "Husnu su'ali nisful ilm." अच्छा सवाल पूछना आधा इल्म होता है. और उसको बेहतर बनाने के लिए हमने ये किया कि हमने कुछ गिव अवेज रखे हैं उन लोगों के लिए नहीं जो सही जवाब देंगे, उन लोगों के लिए जो सवाल पूछेंगे. सो प्लीज आस्क क्वेश्चंस.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. कैन आई आस्क इन उर्दू?
या
हाँ,
प्लीज.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि हमारी इंडस्ट्री में जैसे जैसे बंदा सीनियर होता जाता है उसके लिए विंडो क्लोज होती जाती है अपॉर्चुनिटीज के लिए. तो मैं आपकी सजेशन चाहता हूँ कि 5 से 10 साल जब बंदे का एक्सपीरियंस होता है तो उसके लिए आप क्या सजेस्ट करते हैं कि उसके क्या इसकी स्ट्रेटजी होनी चाहिए?
आपको आपको क्या लगता है कि क्यों विंडो क्लोज होती है?
क्योंकि अगर 10 डेवलपर हैं तो उनमें से एक ही मैनेजर बनेगा और एक ही सीटीओ बनेगा. तो
ये अब ने यही एक चीज पहले खत्म करनी है कि 10 साल का मतलब ये नहीं है अब से मैं मैनेजर हूँ. ये हमने यही चीज खत्म करनी है. मैं इवन जैसे मैंने कहा कि 22 साल हो गए हैं मुझे, एंड आई स्टिल want others to see me a young developer. I mean, still I enjoy coding still at that time. तो उसकी रीजन यही है कि ये वो स्किल है. मेरा नहीं ख्याल ये स्किल आपकी खत्म होनी चाहिए. एंड आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ यू हैव नोटिस्ड और नॉट, आपको आहिस्ता आहिस्ता प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट की जॉब्स कम होती हुई नजर आए. एक तो कुछ हम वो प्रोसेस के पीछे लग के भी स्क्रम में प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर नहीं होता, कुछ इस वजह से कम होने लग गई विदाउट एनी रीजन. कुछ वाकई ऐसे हो गई कि नाउ वी नीड, आई मीन जो स्कोप क्योंकि बड़ा डिफरेंट होता जा रहा है एप्लीकेशंस का. ये इससे इंटीग्रेट होगा, वो उससे आगे, उससे वो कुछ मैसेज भेजेगा, वो उधर से राउंड होके वापस आ जाएगा और प्रोसेस हो जाएगा. क्योंकि शायद प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट में जाके थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाता है उसकी डिलीवरी, क्योंकि उनका जस्ट फोकस प्रोजेक्ट की डिलीवरी होती है, प्रोडक्ट की डिलीवरी नहीं होती. तो जब तक हम ऐसे जो भी जिस तरह ये स्कोप बढ़ता जा रहा है, हम वो प्रोडक्ट की डिलीवरी पे फोकस जब तक हम नहीं करेंगे, सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्राइज प्रोजेक्ट्स पॉसिबल नहीं है आज के दौर में.
थैंक यू सर.
डिड आई एड्रेस योर कंसर्न? आपका यानी आपको आंसर मिला है यानी कि
स्टिल कंफ्यूज्ड?
हाँ हाँ. तो मैं आपको ये जन इन शॉर्ट मैं ये कहूंगा, अब डेवलपमेंट मत छोड़ो. रोल एक और चीज है, कॉम्पिटेंसी एक और चीज. आप ऐसी जगहों पे कई जगह आपको फीलिंग भी आती है जो कि कुछ हद तक वो अल्लाह ताला के हाथ में भी है, कि आपको लगता है कि क्यों सीनियर है. कई दफा आपको ऐसी फीलिंग आती है, राइट? हमें भी अपने जवानी में आती रही है और वो सबको आती है. इवन एक बहुत फ्रेश वो ग्रेड को भी आती है वो वाली. लेकिन वो एक सेपरेट चीज है, रोल एक सेपरेट चीज है, आपकी कॉम्पिटेंसी या आपकी स्किल एक सेपरेट चीज है.
मैं अपने क्वेश्चन को रिफ्रेश कर देता हूँ
हम्म.
कि मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि आप जैसे सीनियर होते जाते हो
हाँ हाँ.
तो कंपनीज आपको प्रेफर नहीं करती, वो चाहती है कि
नहीं.
एक जूनियर डेवलपर भी ये काम कर सकता है या एक मिड लेवल का डेवलपर ये काम कर सकता है, तो हम इतना हाईली पेड बंदा क्यों रखें?
मैंने आपको ये अच्छा मैंने वही मैं उसी हवाले से बात कर रहा था. इफ यू कीप लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स. आज आपका टोटल एक्सपीरियंस कितना है?
अराउंड 6 इयर्स.
6 इयर्स है. मेरा नहीं ख्याल आपको आपको ये सोचना चाहिए कि अब एंगुलर इन हो गई है, मुझे एंगुलर पे काम करना. ठीक है. आपको ये देखना चाहिए कि जो एक्सपीरियंस आपने अभी तक जितना सीखा है उसको फर्दर रिफाइन करके आप उसको कैसे आप बता दूसरों को बता कैसे सकते हो कि दिस इज समथिंग आई नो बट अदर्स डू नॉट. ये आप कैसे बताओ? ऑफ कोर्स इंटरव्यू में भी बताओगे और ये आपके सीवी में रिफ्लेक्ट भी होना चाहिए.
ओके.
थोड़ा सा आपको सोशल भी होना पड़ेगा. ये भी एक यानी ये हमारे सीनियर्स की यहाँ जो एक हमारे वाला बैच था या उसके बाद के भी कुछ लोग हैं, उनकी भी किसी हद तक ये प्रॉब्लम होती है. दे डू अ लॉट बट अदर्स डू नॉट नो कि वो क्या क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं,
एग्जैक्टली.
कौन सी तोप चला सकते हैं.
So
तो अपॉर्चुनिटी नेवर नेवर है.
ओके. Thank you.
We'll take 2 further questions if we have.
Okay.
Right.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. My question is, sir, both of you, Sir Abdullah and Sir Zafar. As you know, हमारा जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है उसमें तो उस लेवल की स्टडी नहीं है, उस लेवल का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है। जैसा कि हम अपनी प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में आके धक्के खा के सीखते हैं जी, हमें ये करना चाहिए, और जो हमें बता दिया जाता है जी अब आप इस पे काम करेंगे, अगर उस पे नहीं चलता तो फिर स्टैक चेंज कर दिया जाता है जी, आप इस पे कर लें, उस पे नहीं चलता तो फिर उसको जी बाय बाय टाटा कर दिया जाता है। तो ये है कि रैपिडली जो जितनी चेंजेस आ रही हैं, अब जैसे कि आपने ये बताया जी MAUI इन हुई है अभी, तो इसके मुकाबले में अभी बहुत सारे फ्रेमवर्क रन टाइम में चल रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए? हमें फिर नई चीज़ की तरफ देखना चाहिए या जो पुरानी चल रही है उस पे पहले हमें ग्रिप करनी चाहिए?
राइट, थैंक
ये
यू।
बहुत
आई थिंक
अच्छा
हम एक
क्वेश्चन।
क्वेश्चन और ले लेते हैं साथ में और फिर हम कलेक्टिवली करते हैं। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन हम साथ ले लेते हैं, देन आई थिंक वी विल एड्रेस ऑल ऑफ इट टुगेदर।
Acha, my question is from Zafar Saab. I know you for some time now, or
I know you as well.
so during your discussion you talked about something like if a task comes, instead of doing it straight away, you need to analyze and you look into things in detail and everything. It requires more time then to complete that task, right? So this is the part that you told us. And I've heard from a speaker, or from a wise man, that time to complete a task expands and contracts with the time allowed to do that. So if I'm asked to do a paper, and if I'm given even 2 weeks to complete that paper, so I would maybe looking for a fine pen to do that, fine paper. I'll put the margins and everything. I will consume things and like that, and then maybe I'll do it in the last couple of days. So, but if I'm given just 2 to 3 hours to complete that paper, maybe I'll be doing that straight away and forget everything. This is just an example, but I just wanted to know your approach, and I know what's your approach while you are working, because you do tasks on a very nick of a time. And I know you some times ago you mentioned that you usually complete the task when the deadline is very near, and most of the people we do like that कि हम बिल्कुल end पे आके काम करते हैं. So what approach you would recommend to your employees and other people while assigning tasks to them? Will you give a larger time, or squeeze time? Just wanted to understand about that.
Yeah, please
Right,
allow
so-
me to answer this question first, right? क्योंकि ये बड़ा सिंपल जवाब है इसका। आपको पहले तो हम ये बात करते हैं, हम स्क्रम में काम कर रहे हैं, स्क्रम स्क्रम स्क्रम, इसके अलावा मैंने आज तक और कुछ नहीं सुन रहा। आजकल तो बिल्कुल भी हम कुछ नहीं सुन रहे। ओहो लेट हो गया, एक दिन आगे चला गया, 2 टिकटें आगे चली गई, राइट? आपके पास एक टिकट आती है, दे आस्क यू फॉर द एस्टिमेट्स. Is that how it works, right? You tell them it will take 4 hours, or you tell them it will take 4 days. They could ask you why it will take 4 days. Then of course you could tell them, I mean, this is the aspect I need to think of. These two validation will additionally be required on that. तो उसमें होगा क्या? शायद ये हो कि we split that task into 2 pieces. One is the basic function that fulfills the initial business requirements, and the other task we may do those tasks later on, right? But at least आप ये देखोगे वो आपकी backlog का part बन गई है,
Yes.
or you get time to achieve those tasks as well. और एक जो प्रॉब्लम आपने देखी हो, ये सबने शायद देखी होगी, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों में भी प्रॉब्लम है, इवन कई दफा, यानी मैं वो बताऊंगा नहीं क्योंकि वो हर कंपनी का उस वक्त के वो सीक्रेट्स होते हैं वो वाले। एक कंपनी में मैं जब जॉब कर रहा था, और मेरे एक दोस्त भी हैं, वो एक और कंपनी में कर रहे थे, एक दफा कहीं से क्लाइंट का फोन आ गया, तो हमारे GM भी बैठे हमारे साथ डेडलॉक ढूंढने में लगे हुए थे। हम 40 लोग कंपनी में बैठे थे रात 2 बजे, और बैठे हम वो एक एप्लीकेशन को बिजनेस यूजर की तरह यूज कर रहे हैं और उसमें डेडलॉक ढूंढ रहे हैं। Why I couldn't spend time at the time of designing that application that it should be able to handle 10,000 users, or a request time should be less than 10 milliseconds. अगर हम उस वक्त कर लेते तो शायद मेरा 6 महीने का प्रोजेक्ट 9 महीने में खत्म होता, ऐसे ही होता। लेकिन अगर मेरा आज जो 6 महीने में मैंने जो काम किया उसको मुझे खत्म करते करते वो 18 महीने लग गए, क्योंकि आपका यूएटी क्लोज ही नहीं हो पा रहा। आपने 6 महीने काम किया, उन्होंने आपको एक इशू बताया कि भाई ये परफॉर्मेंस का इशू है, ये भी आपने परफॉर्मेंस का इशू फिक्स किया, आपने एक और इशू डाल दिया, आपको वो मिला एक कॉन्फिडेंस, क्योंकि जब तक आपके यूएटी के इशू क्लोज नहीं होते उसके बाद एक सक्सेसफुल टाइम नहीं होता। ये एंटरप्राइज एप्लीकेशन की बता रहा हूँ, इसमें एनडीमैक बैंक भी है यूएस में, और बैंक ऑफ अमेरिका का भी हमने वो काम देखा हुआ है, बहुत ही टाइट प्रोसेस होते हैं। आपकी हेल्दी एप्लीकेशन यूएटी में जब तक 2 महीने नहीं चलेगी वो यूएटी पास नहीं गिना जाएगा, ठीक है। तो अगर आप वही आप 6 महीने का काम 9 महीने में कर लेते हैं तो आपके 9 महीने फिर बच जाते हैं आपके, क्योंकि आपको ओवरऑल 18 महीने लगे हैं।
So this आप जो बता रहे हैं, this is from the client's perspective ना. I'm talking about if you have to assign, मतलब एक task
नहीं
है
नहीं, अब
which you think.
मैं और क्लाइंट के पर्सपेक्टिव से नहीं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जब वो आपने 9 महीने का काम आपने 18 महीने में किया, तो एक्चुअली आपकी जो कॉस्ट आपने उसको एलोकेट की हुई थी 9 महीने की, आपके ऊपर उसके जो लोग रहे 18 महीने आपके तकरीबन डेडिकेटेड रहे उसके ऊपर।
that I get. जो मेरा क्वेश्चन अगेन थोड़ा सा ये है कि if आपने मुझे टास्क असाइन करना है एंड यू नो विद योर एक्सपीरियंस कि इसमें एनालिसिस का मार्जिन है, but this task can be concluded in 2 days, but I'm giving him 4 days.
Right.
So you would go for 4 days. I'm just hypothetically saying that हम आप मैं अगर आप मुझे असाइन करें कि भी एक दिन में ये करके देना है, मे बी ये एक नेचुरल फिनोमेना है, मुझे एक दिन देंगे, शायद मैं एक दिन में भी कंप्लीट करके आपको दे दूं, बट समटाइम्स आपसे मैं अप्रोच यही पूछा, आप कैसे फॉलो कैसे करते हैं टास्क असाइन करते हुए?
देखो
क्या
वो
एक्सटेंडेड टाइमलाइन देते हैं
नहीं,
या
वो वेरी करता है।
स्ट्रिक्ट
द
देते हैं?
फर्स्ट थिंग, इंस्टेड आई टेल यू कि ये इसको इतने टाइम में कर दो, you should tell me how long it will take
I will
and why,
definitely go for the 4, maybe 6 days.
which is fine, as long as you are able to justify that.
Just adding on to one thing to this conversation, I think this also depends that on what level the project is. If that is at the beginning or in the middle, or like you are rewriting a project, so I think the overall scenario would be different. So I would request you guys, because you have a lot of interaction, so you can get interacted afterwards also. So
Yeah.
if we can answer the
Yeah.
questions from there.
आपका क्वेश्चन था, इनका मैं क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर दूं कि एजुकेशन सिस्टम does not train us for modern technologies or technologies which are today in,
Or
right?
even if we comprehend it more precisely, I think the employability skills.
Right. देखो, सबसे पहले तो आप जो एक मेजर शिफ्ट हम देखते हैं एफएससी के बाद, 12th स्टैंडर्ड के बाद, जो बैचलर का जो एक सडन शिफ्ट होता है आपका, एक टर्निंग पॉइंट होता है आपका। आप उसके पहले आप स्टडी कर रहे होते हो, तब आपका एक्चुअली जो है जस्ट आपकी ब्रेन ओपनिंग हो रही होती है, आपके ब्रेन के सेल्स को स्टिमुलेट करना होता है, एक डिग्री का काम। आज आप अगर तो ये देखो, ये तो एंडलेस पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं। आपका अगर आपका फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर आपको एक टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ा दें, वो तो 4 साल वैसे ही हो सकता है कि उसके वर्जन इतने आ चुके हो या रीराइट हो चुका हो, कोई और उसको रिप्लेस कर चुका हो, तो हम तो कभी भी उस लेवल पे नहीं पहुंच सकते। दैट इज वाई वी स्टार्ट विद बेसिक लैंग्वेजेस, जो कि आपकी C++ है, फाउंडेशन लैंग्वेज है, राइट। इट टेक्स यू थ्रू अरे, मल्टी डायमेंशनल अरे, पॉइंटर्स, आपकी जो है टेम्पलेट क्लासेस, इनहेरिटेंस, पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म, ओवरलोडिंग, जो आप बाद में आप देखते हो वो सब कुछ उसमें होता है, और बड़े अच्छे तरीके से। मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट, यू डू मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट योरसेल्फ, इंस्टेड योर सिस्टम डज इट फॉर योरसेल्फ, राइट। तो ताकि अब उसे आपको उसकी समझ आ जाए। कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज में असेंबली भी पढ़ाई जाती है। इवन यू कैन वर्क एट इंटरप्ट लेवल, कि जब आप एक कीबोर्ड के ऊपर एक बटन की प्रेस होती है, वो स्क्रीन तक कैसे पहुंचता है, ये क्यों पढ़ाया जाता है हमें उस वक्त शायद। और ये यानी मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा सिर्फ यूनिवर्सिटीज का कसूर है। बीइंग एन इंडिविजुअल वी डू नॉट कंप्लेन, और समटाइम वी बिलीव दैट यार ये इसने क्या पढ़ाना है, मैं आप ही पढ़ लूंगा, मुझे जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। कोई एक ऑडियंस ही ऐसी नहीं बचती जिसको उससे पढ़ाने में मजा आए, या वो ऑडियंस को पढ़ने में उस वक्त मजा आता। तो आप उसको, अगर हम सारे उस कैरियर को उस वक्त ऐसे लें। और एक सेकंड, आपने ये जो क्वेश्चन है, इसमें मैं एक बड़े अपने दिल की बात भी यहाँ पे कहूंगा, जो कि अक्सर मैं बहुत सारे लोगों को कहता हूँ। एक जो दूसरी मैंने प्रॉब्लम देखी है, वट एवर द रीजन इज, डू नॉट try to start a job or an internship अपनी जॉब के साथ उस वक्त, until you are struggling, really struggling, या अब आपको पता है जो माँ बाप आपको पढ़ा सकते हैं पहले 3 साल, वो आपको अगला साल भी पढ़ा सकते हैं, राइट? अगर जैसे ही आपने वो जॉब शुरू की, लेट्स से यू गेट अ जॉब फॉर अ PhD डेवलपर, you will feel regret after 2 years when you, जब आप बाकियों को देखोगे उस तरह ग्रो करते हुए। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा PhD बुरी है, आपको पसंद नहीं थी वो उस वक्त, but you adopted it because you wanted to do something to get a financial support, आपने उसको करना शुरू कर दिया, now you want to come out of it, right? तो ये इस चीज के लिए भी हमें थोड़ा वेट करना चाहिए कि मेरा फाइनल प्रोजेक्ट आपको आपका कैरियर एक्चुअली आप समझो तो बना देता होता। कितने अच्छे तरीके से हम करते हैं, मैंने उसमें सिर्फ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन का पार्ट प्ले करना है, या मैंने उसके अंदर जो है वो मैंने एक्चुअली उसमें इम्प्लीमेंटेशन भी कर, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन अभी यानी जो अभी हम ये स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन का एक मैं उस वक्त सॉरी आंसर भी नहीं कर सका था। यूनिवर्सिटीज में भी आप देखो, अगर उस वक्त आप अपनी एक हैबिट बना लो, मैंने कोड लिखना है, उसकी अच्छी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कोड की कर देनी है। डॉक्यूमेंटेशन मींस के जो कोड आपका कल को कोई और देखे वो किसी और को समझ में आने लग जाए, या आप ही को 10 साल बाद जब आप सीनियर हो जाओ, अब अचानक सामने पता नहीं कितने केड़े बेवकूफ ने लिखे है, अब अपने कोड को देख के हम कई दफा कह रहे हो वो, तो वो आपको देख के समझ आ जाएगी वो क्या लिखा हुआ है और वो क्यों लिखा हुआ है उसने। तो मैं नहीं समझता कि वो अकेला यूनिवर्सिटीज का, इन शॉर्ट अगर मैं दोबारा उसे कंक्लूड करूंगा, सिर्फ यूनिवर्सिटीज का कसूर है। बैचलर प्रोग्राम का पर्पस ही जस्ट ब्रेन ओपनिंग होती है, सेल्फ स्टिमुलेशन होती है, आपको स्टडी नॉलेज डिलीवर करना उसका एक डिग्री प्रोग्राम का पर्पस होता ही नहीं। हाँ, ये और बात है कि यहाँ पे हमने उसको कभी भी इवॉल्व करने की फर्दर कोशिश ही नहीं की, या हमने कभी कोई टीचर कहे भी कि हमने पाइथन नहीं पढ़ाई लेकिन पाइथन में कुछ करना है, हम ये कहते हैं पढ़ाया है नहीं, हमें बीच में ले आया है, इसको पता नहीं क्यों ले आया है वो। मे बी उसका पर्पस यही है, उसकी नीयत बिल्कुल ठीक है, उसने आपको क्यों कहा है वो करने को, कि वो चाहता हो कि आप उसे देखें क्योंकि ये एक मॉडर्न चीज है कोई वो वहाँ पे।
And I think two more points in this. One, if you have to identify your niche, you should always have a mentor to consult. So that is not just for the starting part of your life. At every stage of your life, at every stage of your career, I think one should always have somebody to go and ask that what should I do. I think that should be one thing. Second thing is that after
मैं सॉरी अब्दुल्ला,
Yeah.
I to some extent I will disagree with you.
Okay.
मेंटोरशिप का लोग कई दफा वेट करते करते वो आपकी कई दफा लाइफ गुजर जाती है।
नहीं, आई थिंक लोगों को फाइंड आउट करना चाहिए ना कि जाके कि अच्छा ठीक है, मैं किसी से, जैसे अभी लेट्स से फ्रॉम दिस ऑडियंस वी हैव आस्क्ड कि अच्छा भी आप सवाल पूछ लें, सो less than 10% people have asked questions, right? So the problem is that we don't go and ask.
आप इसको अगर यही देखो कि आप गूगल से क्या पूछो तो आपको आंसर नहीं मिलेगा, वो ठीक है, उस पे कंटेंट ऐसा भी है जिसको आपको नहीं यानी आपको गौर से नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए, तो वही अगर आप उधर भी एक्सप्लोरेशन अगर हम थोड़ी बढ़ाएं कि इंस्टेड आई लुक फॉर द फर्स्ट आंसर, कि आई बीन लकी आई मीन विद दिस आंसर, स्टैक ओवरफ्लो में टिक वाला साइन ढूंढने की मैं बंद कर दूं, वहां पे मैं एक्चुअल आंसर उसकी रीजन के साथ समझने की कोशिश करूं, मैं उसको उसकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन से जाके वेरीफाई करूं, इंस्टेड के मैं वीडियो में जल्दी से 15 मिनट में ये एंगुलर सीख लूं या ये रिएक्ट मुझे आ जानी चाहिए वो, जब मैं उसको डॉक्यूमेंटेशन से उसको वैलिडेट करना शुरू कर दूंगा, वंस आई गेट द स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट without any mentor, I don't think, I mean, you will ever be able to forget it.
Plus, there are so many nano degree courses are available nowadays. So you can reach out to a lot of learning management systems, and you can do all those courses which are in the modern times.
Yeah, take
So-
it as a fun, but first you need to focus on your primary skill, whatever that is, either it is .NET, Angular, JavaScript development. I would say, I mean, one of the difficult things, if you really know about JavaScript, that is as difficult as working with Xamarin. But if we say that, I mean, कि एक बटन आ जाए, क्लिक हो जाए, उधर से ये आ जाए, उसको बिल्ड कर दबाएंगे, -O लगाएंगे तो उसकी वो प्रोडक्शन आउटपुट आ जाएगी, ये जावास्क्रिप्ट डेवलपमेंट नहीं है। हमने क्योंकि सीखी उतनी है जितने से काम चल जाता है, वो गुजारा जिससे जिससे गुजारा हो जाता है।
Yeah, that's a political answer, by the way. We also have a program, so you can also reach out to us on LinkedIn. So I think thank you very much.
Thank you so
for
much,
an
everyone.
insightful conversation. if anybody else has any question after this, you can reach out to us through LinkedIn, Zafar Saab through LinkedIn also, or you can just do email to any of us. So we'll be there for you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
last
ladies.
comment from me. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah, please.
अभी मैं skills की जब मैं बात कर रहा था, identify your skill. We all have one common skills. I mean, for this event, you may not have realized you can compromise your rest day or hibernation day over learning, right? Maybe, I mean, someone might be thinking of lunch only, but still, I mean, whoever came here, he had to, I mean, do effort to come to reach there, right? तो ये भी एक स्किल थी, ये एक मोटिवेशन भी है, लेकिन अब ये कि आप इसके ऊपर फर्दर हमने नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या होता है हमारा, दैट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन.
Thank you very much.